Chapter 1. A Letter. March. Caroline laid the strip of lace flat on the counter, smoothing it carefully. Mr. Turner, the linen draper, placed a neat pile of shilling coins beside it, while his sister looked on suspiciously. She was always suspicious, that one, suspecting Caroline of some subterfuge, even when the price was clear to see before her. Mr. Turner, however, was old-fashioned. He still paid the traditional way, with a number of shillings that could cover the lace. With delicate fingers, Caroline began to place the coins on the strip of lace, placing them as tightly as she could. Eventually, when not a scrap of lace remained uncovered, she stood back.
"That one is over the edge,"
Miss Turner said, in her sour way, pointing to one of the shilling coins. "It is just the angle from which you are looking," Caroline said easily. "The light is not the best just here."
"I can fetch a lamp,"
Miss Turner said, the fire of battle in her eyes. "No need, Elspeth," Mr. Turner said. "Let us not argue over a shilling. You know Miss Milburn's work is worth it. I never have any trouble selling her pieces, and this is a very pretty one." Almost 5 guineas for 3 weeks' work. Not a great deal, but much needed. Quickly, before he could change his mind, Caroline scooped up the coins and tucked them into her purse, hiding it away in a pocket. There was a great deal to be said for the old-fashioned, fuller skirts, which had room for the concealment of pockets. She strongly disliked the new fashion for a reticule held in the hand. With a nod of the head and a quick bob to the Turners, she hurried out of the shop. The rest of her day's business was more pleasurable. Winchester had shops in abundance, and her steps took her to the grocer for tea, cheese, and spices, the apothecary for Lynn's herbs, the silk merchant for more thread for her lace, and, an indulgence, the milliner for a new bonnet for Poppy. Gradually, her basket filled with neatly wrapped packages. Only when she heard the clock strike the half-hour again did she hasten back to the White Hart to catch the return stage to Romsey. She had no time to buy food at the inn, but she had had the foresight to buy a pie from a stall in the market, and that sustained her for the journey home. Caroline was squeezed into the middle of a seat designed for 2, but that didn't matter. She had seen the passing scenery many times before, and besides, she was busy designing her next piece of work in her head. She could already see the cushion laid out in her mind's eye, the placement of the first pins, the strip gradually growing under her nimble fingers. Mamma might lie in the Abbey graveyard, but her skills were still alive in her daughters. With a great racket, as the guard blew his horn, the stagecoach turned into the crowded yard of the White Horse Inn in Romsey. Caroline never rushed to alight, waiting for the dust to settle and the initial confusion to dissipate. When she descended, she picked her way past the carts and wagons, skirted the groups of people greeting arrivals or bidding farewell, and made her way through the arch to the marketplace. From there, it was only a short walk to the house she shared with her sisters, 3 other families, and a linen draper's shop. The shop had once been her father's, and the whole house theirs. But when he had died and everything had to be sold, they had squashed into just 4 rooms, and since Mamma's death, it was only 2, with the use of an attic room for the looms. Still, it could be worse, she supposed. They had a roof over their heads, and enough money for their modest wants, and today they had fresh cheese and a new bonnet for Poppy. Lynn was bent over the work-table, absorbed in her task, one fair curl falling unregarded from her coiled hair.